Welcome back to Rex Movie Reviews, and today we're going to be discussing one of my favorite movies in this subgenre, horror, of all time. And a lot of people are going to agree, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and I look forward to that. This is the discussion on Cry Wolf, which came out back in the early 2000s. And and this movie was regarding 8 unsuspecting high school seniors at a posh boarding school who delight themselves on playing games of lies, come face to face with terror, and learn that nobody believes a liar, even when they're telling the truth. This movie stars Julian Morris, Lindy Booth, and Jared Padalecki. And man, this movie, when it first came out and I saw the previews, had me excited. I was a young kid, 19, 20 years old. And I'm not gonna lie, my expectations were very high, especially we were on that Scream, train for a very long time. And when this movie came out, I expected, if not the same kind of nostalgia effect that Scream gave us. And even though this is a little different from the usual slasher fare, it was very, very unique. Just to start off, this movie was entertaining. It was an entertaining tale of manipulation. It was very engaging, had a unique story that I've never seen up to then in film, in any genre. It was different from what many people were expecting. You know, a lot of people thought, I remember a lot of my friends were complaining about false advertisement. No, this movie, it, obviously it tricks you into wanting to watch the movie. That's the whole thing. We have false advertisements all the time. The story has unpredictable twists and a surprising ending, which that's what we watch movies for. It was intelligent with sex appeal, very clever, and in my opinion, very underrated. I'm in the two minds about Cry Wolf. I appreciate the fact that the film was trying to do something different and breathe new life into a style that was becoming kind of a tired genre. In the early 2000s, there were a lot of divisive films that were very similar to each other. But looking back, I will always be a fan of this kind of genre because this was the type of stuff that got me girls back in the day. You would take them to a flick, and boom. And this was very entertaining. Back in the early 2000s, you had movies that had like these ridiculous triple twist endings, and which sees believability. But the film may have had remaining to go out the window when, things happen like that. I did find this fairly enjoyable for the most part. It's hard to call it a horror movie when it's more of a thriller, very suspenseful, with some decent in peril moments as a ski mask wearing psycho stalks a college and menaces the characters via the internet. And the internet around this time was just booming, right? With the Blackberries and sidekicks, the IMs, keeping up with the times at that time. And I appreciated that, It's also a film with a better cast than you might expect, with some not bad turns from up and coming actors like Julian Morris, who was in Donkey Punch. He wasn't really known at the time, and he's the central character in this. He plays a British export, and you see through his eyes the way the plot plays out in this film. I found something oddly likable about this guy, even though his accent sounds phony, despite being genuine. Lindy Booth, she plays a girl named Dodger in the film, sexy, red hair, who he ends up falling for. She gives the ultimate performance. Most eyes will be on John Bon Jovi's supporting role in this as a college teacher. And I have to say, for a rock star, he was surprisingly decent in the part that he had in this film. Anyway, the running time in this flies right by. It's paced really well. You're not going to be bored. And it's nice to watch a film that relies on suspenseful situations and atmosphere. They had a few jump scares, but they were tremendous. And it didn't have that much gore or carnage candy, but the story wasn't really called for that in some sequences. The filmmakers commit one or two cardinal errors, in my opinion, such as showing the murders right at the beginning of the film. They kind of project what's going to happen, and towards the ending of the film, obviously, whatever happens, it goes exactly the way you saw it in the beginning. To me, that was a real fail, but it did not take away from my viewing. And the head-scratching stuff at the climax it goes both ways. Some of it was unbelievable, and some of it was very believable. But for the most part, I was caught up in the story. It was very entertaining and intriguing about what was going to happen next as each scene went right by. It's not a masterpiece, but the truth is it could have been. It could have been a masterpiece with a few tweaks here and there, but it isn't. But if you want a little more intelligence in a film, you'll find the typical slasher fare in a movie like Scream. But this, I got a feeling you just might like it. It's a film film that to this day, when I hear about it or I see it, and you could catch this movie on HBO Max, you got to see it. It's a film so insane that it's not all about the scares. It keeps your mind going. Like, shit, I can't believe somebody's that good enough to manipulate me and thinking one way, so I could go ahead and do this or go that way. Or you got to go check this out. It's a must watch, in my opinion. But if that's my review. But if you like this video, hit that like button, notify, and share this video with a loved one or a friend. And if you want more content from me, subscribe. To the next one.